All three of us?
No. You two, Zub, or, whatever.
Us.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, that's nice.
Use guys.
Use guys, when are you coming to us? Wheeze. All right, and welcome to beautiful Behind the Bunker. We are live in the show. Todd is not here. He was detained. He's in the trunk of a car while he was trying to cross the border into Tijuana. But this is Behind the Bunker live show number 451 and podcast 315. We are live here, and I'm joined with one of my co-hosts, Gavin Sharma.
Co-host and, dare I say, friend, Joseph?
Friend, yes.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us Behind the Bunker. It is Monday night, and you know what to do. What we beg of you each and every single Monday, it's like, share, or if you're so inclined, start a watch party, because without Todd here, things are going to get a little risque. So make sure you hit like and share. It's going to get crazy tonight, my friends.
And we're going to go over to Josh Zubizabrikis.
Yes, I am so ronery tonight. I'm
so
the only
ronery.
one. I'm sharing the camera with Homer. Yeah. So,
Awesome.
I'm glad you could join us on our show. Because tonight, it's not Todd's.
And
our show.
In the production booth, we have Matt and Matt. They are there. I don't know if they have an image, but...
No, we don't have a camera.
Picture two guys sitting quietly, controlling computers and gizmos and so on and so forth. And we're going to talk about a few things tonight. We are going to talk about... We've got some residual team names we're going to talk about. Of course, we're going to do our fantastic reads. We have the topic, the hot button topic, which... What don't you like about big games? We're going to talk about that tonight. We will go over Red Dawn, which we hosted yesterday at Flag Raiders Paintball. This is the official Brigade patch. Brigade! And we're going to take it out of the plastic, and we're going to put it up on the patch wall shortly. So I'm going to turn you over to Gavin. He's going to talk about... Do you have any mail time?
I don't have any mail time today, folks.
Oh, dear.
But the postman did arrive, and it was an empty sack. And so I can't rip open my sack and read any of the correspondence you sent in. But, this is a live show, folks. So if you send in any questions in the live chat that we are monitoring right now, we'll try to address that some point today on our mail time non-segment that's going on.
Because Todd is not here, we are going to do a new segment. It's called What is in the Box?
What's in the box?
What's in the box?
Better not be a severed head.
It won't be a severed head.
What's in the box?
The bottom's not even sealed, so there's.
There better not be in this box.
So this is, you can put up in the chat.
Guess what's in the box?
What's in the box?
It's
and we'll
not
show
paint.
you shortly. I'm going to take it out and show you guys.
Oh,
New segment. What's
this
in
is
the
going
box?
downhill fast.
It is.
You know what? Did
ahead.
you ever see the old Saturday Night Live skit?
Which one?
There's a
About Gumby?
There's a in this box.
Yes,
Yeah.
Justin
Okay.
Timberlake
Right.
and
I didn't know if Joe had seen it. It was
watched-
back in the day before Joe was allowed to stay up that late.
Oh, that's true.
so before we get into this,
What is it? Oh, it
Wow.
smells like fresh patch.
Fresh PVC.
hold up to the camera so they can sniff at home.
This is where we're broadcasting in 4D as well, so you'll be able to smell this. If you guys scratch your monitors lightly, you'll be able to smell the scent of fresh PVC. This is the Brigade patch. It's going on the wall. Boom.
All right, so we are a little disorganized
Smell it
this
from
evening because we just came off an amazing event at Flag Raiders Paintball Games. Pardon me, I'm not laughing, I'm coughing. Red Dawn, the kickoff of the winter
Wolverines!
2020 season. So, Joe, why don't you give us a little bit of a recap in terms of what the heck happened on Sunday?
What the heck happened? We had good pre-registration numbers. We had a decent number of walk-ons show up. We had some fantastic Frostbite winter paintballs. I got up in the morning, and it was pretty bright, but it was minus 15 degrees Celsius, but the projected high was supposed to be 5 degrees Celsius. The sun came out. People came out. People were smiling. We got the game going. There were some fantastic battles. Lots of smoke. People had an opportunity after playing indoor all winter and only being able to hide behind structures and whatnot. They were able to get out, pop smoke, throw smoke, use it for cover, and EG was everywhere, just like on my hoodie. It's there.
Somewhere on your breast.
Somewhere on my bosom. Anyway, so that was Red Dawn, and the Rebel team was led by Raptor from the Task Force Raiders, and the Russian team was led by Tommy Gee from the Northern Mercenaries. And then the battle went back and forth. Territory was held. Territory was lost. Lunchtime, we switched ends and respawned and a bit of the same. And there were some mini missions thrown in. It was a pretty successful day.
I would say so. And the weather absolutely cooperated. Bright blue skies, sunny. A couple of days before, the Southern Ontario was blanketed by snow, so it made for a great winter game. So the field was tough to traverse, but people dug in, built their own snowmen, built their own bunkers.
Snow angels.
They shot some paint.
Do you remember that one year when we had Red Dawn? We'd had it with about 6 inches or 15 centimeters of snow. Then we got this freezing rainstorm, and there was a layer of frozen ice on top of the snow about 1.5 inches thick. You'd be running and your foot would go through the ice and you'd trip and fall, and everyone had bruised shins for days, but it was an epic battle as well.
There was less slipping and sliding this Red Dawn.
Yeah.
And I think everybody had a great time.
Yeah, what was the last Red Dawn? Like minus 32 degrees or something like that? Celsius?
It was pretty cold.
It was cold.
So the paint shot fantastic. The sportsmanship was great. And there was, not a complaint I think could be had by anybody. A solid day of ball in Southern Ontario for winter. But it's encouraging to see what the season's going to look like. People are chomping at the bit to get out and shoot some paint. And they done did it. They done did it, Joseph.
And that's true. Our night they sure done it. I reckon they oughta.
They reckon they oughta.
Our next event at the outdoor field is, of course, Paint Fest, where we do free entry, free rental. That's Sunday, April 26th. So come on out for that. Bring a friend to play paintball. That's what we're encouraging equipment owners, regular players, to bring a brand new person out to try paintball, because the sport, we all dig the sport. If we could turn this into a global initiative, imagine if every paintball player out there brought one new person out. That would do a lot for the growth of the sport, but I don't need to tell you guys because you all know about it. So let's move on to our next topic. Should we talk about the residual team names?
I just want to quickly touch base with our friends, the Mats, in the
Mats.
Production
Everything's
studio.
fine. Just
Okay.
carry on.
Oh,
right,
yeah. So
perfect.
he's making his hand signs like, hurry up, get me out of here.
Yeah, so everybody who's typing in the chat, screw you.
We're aware of the situation.
Matt's aware of the situation. So
But he says it's fine.
it's fine. We're going to move on and ignore you.
Devin Schwartz says, rehire Todd Ansich. Well, you know what?
Why you got to be like
Why
that?
do you got to be like that? We're doing the best we can. Greg Hastings says, hi, dudes. You ain't never got no ladies on. Why is that? B. Young is coming on. She has confirmed she'll be on in a couple weeks. So B will
With
be
her
able to-
Missoula.
With her Missoula.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to talk about the residual of the team names. That was the topic a couple weeks ago. And I'm going to start off with who's got something.
Gabriel Cueball says, Gabriel Cueball O'Malley. It's probably not Irish at all in the slightest. Says, Daycare Rejects.
Greg Muller, Sniper White and the Killer Dwarfs.
That's not bad.
That's a good. That's
Nelson Breland says the Hayseeds.
a good. Greg Muller again. 5-piece chicken dinner.
Uh,
Winner.
Delicious.
Delicious. We had
Gus's?
We need a Gus's fried chicken one.
we had a 3-piece dinner at Gus's with your choice of several different sides, from coleslaw to mac and cheese.
I
to
had some
French
fried
fries,
okra,
some
some fried green tomatoes.
I had some
Yep.
collard greens. They were pretty
Do you know,
fantastic.
the mac
Why
and
do you keep
cheese was
saying it
really
like
good.
that?
Because that's what it is, collard.
No, it's
Some Milo would say it. He's
Um,
going to wear a collard shirt.
I did notice Mad Frog had put up a video the other day, and I kind of regret not doing this, but he was using his plastic Gus's fried
I saw
chicken
that.
cup,
I made
and
a
I was like,
comment.
I should have got one, because what are the chances are we're ever going to Memphis again?
I would, you know what?
Because I would take a trip down there if I could, just to
I
get
would
Gus's
risk
fried chicken.
trying to steal one out of the restaurant because it was that good.
No, I think you got it anyways when you bought it.
I have
it
a
was
cup.
not the plastic
Really?
one?
I didn't take it with me.
You should
shoulda.
have kept it. They were free.
Son of a bitch.
They give them to you so you take them and you use them when you're doing your podcast.
See, I never got one because I always ordered 40 when I
40
was
ounce.
there. So
40 ounce.
You know what?
Beer.
Oh my God! I'm participating in this derailment about food. For fire truck's sake!
you see that? You feel that rope? Just pull you right on that locomotive.
All right,
Okay,
team
moving
names.
on.
Team names.
Oh, team names. All right. Sure.
Zach Streetley says members only.
Yes.
Great
No,
team
that's
name.
good. I'm not sure if we read this one last time, but Melvin Yogi Cole says played with a group of guys that called themselves the Omnomnomnivores.
Patrick Wade, sex apron.
Oh,
What?
That's what that says, isn't it?
I believe you, but I'm just trying to figure out what the hell a sex apron is.
I don't know. Sex apron.
I'm
not
curious
sure.
now. Is it like an apron with pockets,
Yes.
so you can be naked and still have a place to put your hands?
I don't know, maybe. And then it's got a hole cut out for your apparatus too.
And Trenton Mark Webb, team
got
name, Feel the Paint.
Oh, speaking of sex apron, Josh Ridner, 9-inch males.
9 inches. Oh, okay, I get it. Yeah.
And George Hay asked a question in the chat. How's my my Shopify flask that was confiscated by TSA that I had no idea until like a couple of weeks ago?
Really?
Yeah, you know that square flask?
Yeah.
It was in my carry-on. Goes through the screening, so my hand sanitizer in a little bag came out and did all my laundry. So I only realized the other day, holy shit, I packed that and it disappeared.
They
Really?
took it.
They took it.
Didn't take mine.
Well, yours was used. Mine was brand new.
That's weird.
Anyway,
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
screw you, George Hay. That's salt in the wound.
Derek James, ATV accuracy through volume.
They don't live far from here. Shopify. Maybe we can get Gavin.
I have an email. I'm going to go get some stickers from my
And a new
computer.
flask.
And
And a new
I'll get
and
you
a flask for Gavin, or 3 or 4. Get him a whole case.
Get a case of
They seem to have
flask.
lots left over after.
Yeah,
Brian Foster in the Facebook chat says, smells like Team Spirit.
Dean, Dan Sean Donahoe says, "Shut up, we're trying."
Nice. I like that.
Brian Waltz, team name is Each Hit. So once the announcer reads it out loud, it gets
Yes.
better and better. It's sort of like the Mike Hunt.
Yes. David Beldoff says the Ball Busters.
Oh. That's pretty good. Jimmy Churchill says, hey. We're special thanks to George Hay, who came up yesterday and helped administer the brigade patches for all the brigade members that were out, as well as helped chronograph and did American things well in Canada.
That's right.
So that was all right.
So
It was weird. He was measuring all his liquid in ounces.
Yes, I know. He's sort of switching back and forth.
So this doesn't quite fit because it was a team name that didn't make it. But Heath Hawkins says he tried to call his team the Orphan Cripplers, but his teammates weren't having any piece of it. Better luck next time, Heath.
Better luck next time.
Well, where else do you go after paraplegic turtles?
Oh, you guys keep talking. I'm gonna slowly
But
get this thing organized.
with that team, Dale Price actually had a prosthetic leg.
What?
That's why they named the team.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, so if you
So
have-
what's in the box? You
That's
guys
right.
keep talking about your team names.
All
and
right,
I'll-
team
Joe's
names.
going to play a game.
I'm
What's in
gonna-
my box?
What's in the box?
You know what? I'm not going to read this, but Dennis Terrence, shame on you.
Shame
on
Shame.
you.
Shame.
It is so bad I can't even say it in the after show. Shame on you.
Ryan McGee in the chat says, Sons of OxyClean.
Nice.
That's okay. Yeah.
All right, James Hockey says too many gingers.
That's
Oh,
awesome.
they have one?
One would be sufficient. I'm on
Zoe Tankersley, hi y'all.
Hi, y'all.
Says Destiny.
That's a given. Zoe from Texas.
Wolf Critchlow says his favorite team name is Taste My Skittles.
All right, here we are. This is what was
Oh,
in the
this
box.
is in Joe's box.
This is the brand new Tipman Stormer Elite. It is a dual. It can be mag fed or hopper fed. It takes the Tipman TMC mags. Has wicked awesome flip up sights, multi adjustable stock, a very nice ergonomic foregrip. It's pretty badass. It's in Canadian dollars. It retails for $245. If this doesn't get some more people into paintball, I don't know what will. There's 3 variants. There's a Stormer Basic that just has a foregrip. It's hopper fed. There's a Stormer Tactical that has a collapsible stock, shroud, foregrip, and it's hopper fed. And both the Tactical and the Elite have these flip up sights. Pretty cool.
And the front shroud's quick disconnect.
The front shroud just slides off for cleaning. It's 98 threaded. It's all polymer construction. I'd say it's pretty badass.
And
it's got a good weight here. You can hold
all
it.
the parts that are on here, if you say buy the basic, because that's all you can afford at the current time, throughout time and birthday parties and Christmas money and all that stuff, you can buy all the extras that's on here. So you don't have to start off on the Elite. You can actually move up from there.
But you know you're going to, so just do it anyway.
Yep.
Yeah, you buy
Just
it anyway.
get the whole shebang right from the
Like to
get-go.
Hold it. Careful it doesn't destock because it's not screwed in.
And sorry, Anthony Tucci, no love for the 518 Ninja Squad? No love at all.
That's my ninja.
We're
dog.
actually from the 519 Ninja Squad,
Yeah.
so...
What area code is 518? Where's that?
So I'm kind of liking this. The price point is fantastic. Even if you parted it out, the cost alone, it's fantastic. So again, Joe, you're right, getting people into the sport. But one of the things I had considered, and hopefully Fields do as well, if you were looking to get into rental MagFed, this is a great marker for you to do so.
I think so. So anyway, guys, this is a Tippmann Stormer Elite, and it fits in a paint box. So the new segment is what's in the box. This is what's in the box. I will disassemble it, and I will actually pass it down to the mat.
So it
He
wasn't
can-
a penis.
It was not a
Oh.
penis, but
Okay.
but taken apart, it fits in a box. Maybe GI will include a small suitcase so you can be like a CIA or a Secret Service operative and carry your Tippmann Stormer Elite to the field in a case. Wouldn't that be novel? Anyway, guys, what are we going to talk about next? We've talked a little bit about food. We talked about Red Dawn. We talked about a new product, the Tippmann Stormer, basic and tactical.
We should probably inform folks that BTB also has a YouTube channel. We're on Instagram. Of course, we do a podcast. And you can find us on all those there, and you can harass us 24 hours a day. Go ahead. All you want. Just
send a message.
spam message that junk on there. As long as you like and share the show, you're okay to do that. If you don't, then, of course, we're going to find you and block you for like an hour because we
Maybe.
can't lose any viewers.
Because we can't lose any viewers or listeners when we do the podcast. Should we talk
something like that.
about... last week we sent out the question, what
Is the
Don't
biggest turnoff about big games.
biggest turnoff
Yep.
or what don't you like about big games? So we
And
each have
all-
several sheets.
Yeah, and all you complaining pants, we're all over that. So, here we go.
Here we go.
That's a hot button issue.
Yeah, first one out comes in from Rich Telford. It says, tough guys dropping F-bombs and bullying people.
Oh, yeah, baby.
I don't care if you cheat, suck at playing big games, are just for fun. Don't be a penis.
There you go.
Agreed.
JP East, bad paint at a markup price. Guys, paintball fields and people putting on paintball events need to mark up paint to make money because it's the idea of being in business. I don't think any paintball manufacturers gouge anybody any more for big games or an event, and often bringing in people, getting props and stuff costs a lot of money, so you keep that in mind. Next one is only one or no objectives during the day, deathmatch only. Games that are separated with pauses between games. Big games should be continuous all day. If it's not because it's not organized properly, it just doesn't have enough objectives.
Shane Richter says, half-assing the field for a big game. He recalls one game where they just flipped over picnic tables for bunkers. Boo earns.
That's no good.
And Zoe Tankersley, hi y'all. It's good to see you chiming in again. Some of her complaints are understaffing, thieves, going up, but the gameplay field is not improving. So just basically not evolving the game and the infrastructure or anything like that. So I would agree, Zoe. A couple of people have said that as well about the thievery. So you can't leave your gear around or drop a mag or a pod without somebody picking it up and taking it as their own. So the thievery has made big games less appealing to most.
William T. Forbes, players that can't leave the party at the campsite. Players that take things way too seriously. It's a game, people. That's a pretty common theme.
Yep.
Fools that forget to hydrate. If you're playing paintball, especially in the summer months, guys, make sure you hydrate. Even start 2 or 3 days ahead of time. We've had several incidents where people are dehydrated, they're cramping up, they're not drinking properly, they get lightheaded. just start drinking water or a Gatorade or some sort of
Pickle
fluid,
juice.
pickle juice, even a week ahead of time, just so you're hydrated moving into the day.
Yeah, Elliot Darnell said the same thing, not the hydration part, but people who act like it's real war. We're here for to have fun, so calm down.
Jordan Weidenhalf says e-celebs.
That's it.
That's it.
Well, actually, he said in a lack of real scenario objectives. I have one question about that. What's not a real scenario objective?
Ask him.
Well, depends on the theme of the scenario. I think you could have, I don't know, I guess if they send you to get a stick from a tree, maybe that would.
Ask you to go fly a kite.
Go cut your...
That was an objective. He had to
That
go.
was not a kite. That was a UAV.
A UAV, and
And it had a porpoise.
He had to fly it for 30 seconds and not have it shot down. That I didn't want to send a drone.
It worked. It worked very well. It was a smart idea. It was
you
fun.
couldn't even get drones. Remember the one year we had the I don't know what it was, but you had to get the weather balloon up, and you had to get the high helium and fill the weather balloon
yeah.
and get the weather balloon to go up and launch it. That's the same idea.
Yeah, that was fun.
Mike Holstrom in the chat says overly confusing or poorly posted objectives. And Dave Bridges Players says it's a number of things. Basically cheating. So people that crony then proceed to turn up their markers as soon as they hit the field. Boo earns.
People who scream "get out" or "you're gone" the instant they hit someone, it's just annoying. Give them a second, calm down, Rambo. That's a lot of and also here's another guy, Rob Rains, expensive or garbage paint, of course. Most field operators try to get something very good for an event. The last thing you want is to have bad paint for an event. And the guys who talk trash, trying to get someone out. Check yourself, sweetheart. Get the F out of the game. There's no need for that, guys. It's like Rich Telford said. It is a fun day. So just don't chirp people to get them off the field. You want to just keep everybody moving along.
Whenever I shoot Gavin in the goggles, I like to scream across the field, "Check your face."
Check your face.
No. And Greg says he produces games. Trying to staff a game with good people when players don't pre-register.
Yes.
Yeah, that's true.
Don't complain about refs and there not being enough. If you're a guy who sits at home and you're like, I guess the weather's okay. Mom, can you give me a ride to the field now? No. Pre-reg. Show up when you're supposed to. It's a big game.
It certainly it helps with all kinds of logistics if you pre-register. It helps to organize staff. It helps to your paint numbers. It just overall it helps an awful lot if you pre-register. Just the field, it helps the field operators a lot if you can pre-register. Just keep that in mind.
Ben Painter pulls this one out. This is one of my favorite ones. I was surprised I actually didn't see it on here once. Getting 3K or less fill on your 4,500 tank. Nothing kills your day more than walking up there with your 6845 going, hey, look, I just got enough air to shoot one pod.
Or donating air back to the main
system. Yeah.
How did I come up with less air?
Nothing gets worse than going on the field with your 45. You look and you're like, oh, I'm at 3. Let me top up before I go. And you get your gun back and you're like, 2.5. What the hell happened?
Yes, sir. So Flip Wilson says, not so much the game, but paying for campsites, especially ones that don't have water or electric hookup or porta-johns.
Yeah, that's true.
We're pretty fortunate at Flag Raiders. We're on the Bingaman's property, and they have 450 service campsites. They have showers. If you have an RV or a trailer, you can bring it in and get a full serviced campsite. So, and that's just 5 yurts, shipping container cabins, and that's just about 500 meters from our field. So it's fantastic. Unfortunately, we don't allow any on-site parking just for that reason, because Bingaman's has campsites that are very reasonably priced, and we usually get a discount for camping. And plus, just one street over from us, there's a myriad of hotels, restaurants, and everything you need, as well as a brewery across the street that has an awesome patio.
Not only that, Bingaman Park, for those who don't know, is not just a campground. It's actually a water park as well. And if you're camping there, you can actually play a big game, go rinse off some dirt and paint, and then go into the water park.
And if you bring the family, they've got mini golf and indoor entertainment center for
Bowling,
kids and bowling.
yeah.
Boston Pizza in the bowling alley
I was
right
gonna
there.
say,
It was
if you want to be
great
efficient,
time.
you don't even have to clean your gear. You go down the water slide in full gear. You're golden for the next day.
You're just like a
Hello,
seal.
B.
B Young is saying, "Hi, Matt. # no fun."
Yeah, I'm no fun at all. Going back to what you were saying earlier, Joe, did I hear you properly?
No.
That Bingaman's rents out sea cans that you can camp in?
Yeah,
Bingaman's has
converted sea cans.
sea can camping, and they call it glamping, and they have air conditioning, a large picture window. Some of them have a deck on top.
It's not like human trafficking where there's like
Yeah.
like coyote
Yeah, they
scenario.
don't lock
could
you. They don't
roleplay.
lock you. They don't lock you in it and
In the
put-
middle of the night,
shift
just
you around.
beep, beep.
It's
and it
converted.
tips on a
There's-
weird angle, and you
there's beds,
wake up in a new place.
there's amenities.
And
yes.
they have cabins. They have yurts. They have campgrounds. They have all kinds
All
of
right.
different things.
Just, I thought I
yeah,
misheard
no
you.
shipping can.
All right, so biggest turnoff, we have Bertel Wallowitz says, when there's only marketing and you do not get what you pay for some of the big games. So when it's all hype and no action.
All hype and no action. Let's move along. Do you have any more, Josh?
I've got a pretty lengthy one from Mitch. We said, "What's your pet peeve?" And Mitch actually sent in 4, but I will read some of them because some of them are pretty good. He says, number 1, players not listening or paying attention to the rules. That's definitely important because there are a lot of games that have a lot of different rules, and it's important to know, what the mercy rule is, whether gun hits and stuff count at the start of the game, so always pay attention. He says, chrono your damn marker appropriately. That's
yeah,
right.
buddy.
We've had Simon on this show. We've had tons of people on the show that will say anything over like 280 to 300 is just ridiculous. Simon, I believe, says most markers operate the best at 275.
I believe that's correct.
So if you're going over that, or you're that guy out there with a set of Allen keys, screw you, you suck. Yeah.
George Hayes says, wash Missoula before using the water slide. Interesting.
Yes. He says number 3, goggles where appropriate. Goggles for paintball, not from AliExpress or Wish or somewhere else.
We're getting as Amazon shopping and online shopping becomes more and more commonplace. We're getting lots of people show up with these obscure looking goggles that they say that they bought on Amazon because they said they're paintball and airsoft approved. Just because somebody typed something on the internet doesn't mean it's approved. You have to think, people are shooting at you with a paintball that's traveling, upwards of 280 feet per second. Use only approved eyewear that was designed for paintball.
Why would you skimp on that purchase? Honestly.
Why would you skimp?
Look at me, I'm saving $7.
Yeah,
no, you're not, you idiot.
It's that you don't wear dental floss or put saran wrap over your eyes while you're playing airsoft. You want to protect your eyes. You only have 2 of them, so let's use some common sense. If one of your friends says they're buying a particular off-market goggle or eyewear off the internet, tell them, whoa, wait, and point them in the right direction. Half the time people don't know. It's kind of like when we were at Paintball Extravaganza, and we were sitting in one of the meetings with someone from Google, and we were talking. Someone said, well, they were moms search for paintball markers. Well, the average mom looking for a paintball marker doesn't know it's called a marker. She searches for a paintball gun. It's our job as the industry, once someone gets into the sport, to educate them that, we try not to call it a gun and we try to downplay it. You could call it a shooter or a blaster or even a marker or what have you. But just that's point people in the right direction if you see someone struggling.
As an industry, can we just call them face melters?
Yes.
Sounds a little bit more appropriate.
Yes, face melters.
But slide aside, and no, this is off topic, but
no.
I didn't have an opportunity to bring it up at the Extravaganza State of the Industry. We are really disadvantaged as an industry using the mediums of Facebook and Instagram, which is owned by Facebook, and eventually everything will be event. That you can't use gun, you can't show a trigger. Like, you're limited in terms of what you can advertise and promote on those mediums, simply because they lump that all in with firearms. And so
Which
I think as an industry we need to do better advocacy, and I don't know how to begin with that.
Which I don't understand. Okay, I get the fact to a certain degree that they go, it's a gun, we don't want to promote the sales of guns. Okay, world's most popular video games in the last couple of years: Call of Duty, Battlefield, Fortnite. You gonna tell me a kid's gonna get desensitized because he sees a picture of a paintball marker on Facebook, when that kid probably owns all 3 of those video games and plays on a daily basis? It drives me insane.
I get that, and I guarantee the executives at Facebook and Instagram, their kids are doing the exact same thing too. They may be gun owners themselves, but for whatever reason, there is policy that prevents us from advertising on these mediums like that, and I just don't know how to educate those who have the power.
If anybody listening to the podcast or watching the show knows somebody at Facebook, one of these social media platforms, that would be worth having the industry as a whole approach some of these social media magnates and say, hey, what can we do? How can we get this out there? Is there something we can do and agree on as social media platforms and as an industry so that we can help promote and grow the sport, promote safely and grow the sport to get kids out of the house?
Because one thing we know, it's at least a free medium in terms of advertising. You could spend money for promotion, but if we are disadvantaged in terms of not being able to do so, click a link to your products in your store, click a link to things that you're selling, or even advertising your field, you have to be pretty limited in terms of what you can do. It's detrimental to growing our sport. I really do think so, and making it accessible to people who have that medium in their hand at home. So I just don't know. Please type in the chat, send an email to showbeyondthebunker.com. How do we come together collectively as an industry to advocate, to challenge their policy so that we're able to grow it in a way on this medium?
Safely grow it in a way and promote safely.
Yeah, and David in the chat forum says it's because it's on the rules of paintball guns are considered under firearms, which we understand. We've had that conversation before, but it's one of those things like, why is it there?
Why is it there?
That's what we want to know. How do you get it on?
That, and how do you educate the policymakers so that it becomes accessible to field owners, to shops, to individuals, to be able to use this medium which has a tremendous amount of reach, but we're limited in terms of how we can use that.
Do you think it's because we are so closely related to airsoft that we have that sort of negative?
I don't know, but I would love to hear the rationale behind that and how we can challenge that and educate those who have the power to change the algorithms. And
there's probably more people playing.
filters.
There's probably more people participating in airsoft globally than there is playing paintball.
At this point, I would say yes. I would agree.
Yeah, but isn't paintball banned in Japan or something like that?
I believe
Originally,
I believe there are a couple fields now, but that's, if you think of where airsoft originated in Asia and whatnot, where the gun laws are quite strict and people cannot own real firearms, this would be the next. An airsoft shooter or propeller blaster would be the next best thing to owning a real firearm, and that's
face
where
melter.
Face melter.
Face melter. You're right. Thank you, Matt.
Pockmark maker. That's where airsoft got its start, and it came to North America and Europe that way. So, I think
I didn't want to derail the segment of the show, but it's something that really, really grinded my gears, really bothered me, because I know a lot of fields depend on cheap or free advertising, and many fields are already on these social media platforms. So how can we, and they depend on users. They really do depend on users so they can sell their own advertisements. So how can we have a reciprocal or mutual relationship where we both benefit?
I think that would be something that you would sit down with the policymakers at Facebook. We need to arrange a meeting with these as advocates for the sport to talk to them and see what they would suggest and how we could do it. And social media currently is really one of the only forms of advertising or marketing that you can do. Back when Flag Raider started, 30-something years ago, you had yellow page advertising. That's how you marketed and advertised to the masses was through the Yellow Pages. There were and also people were doing newspaper advertising, but the Yellow Pages, as we know it, don't exist anymore, and most people
nope, they do.
Most online, but not.
No, I got a paper copy in my mail last week.
Oh, we don't.
I laughed because I got home from Extravaganza. I looked in the mailbox, and there was this Yellow Pages.
The reality is we're a global
weird.
sport, right? So how can we collectively use our voice and our influence as consumers of social media to influence some policy that makes it much more accessible for field owners, for players, for anybody to promote our sport, to sell our goods, to have a larger reach? That basically it's short-sighted and ignorance that's preventing us from tapping into these markets or these mediums. Sorry.
That's something would be discussed at an Extravaganza type venue, but I don't know if the sport can wait another year to have some advocacy. But I mean,
Joe, you're a field owner, but even chatting with other field owners around the world, people are really, really struggling to grow the sport, to grow their own market, to bring people in the door, and we know that people are using social media to do all the research, right? To not just Google, right? You're searching on all these platforms. So,
but then that goes back to us, or as players, if we're trying to get, the sport allowed to be shown on social media, paintball players can't do silly things like show shirtless welt shots and shoot people with no shirts on for fun. That just goes against what we're trying to promote, safe use of paintball markers as a sport or leisure activity. So just, we have to really, it's a slippery slope, and there's a fine line about what you can show and what you can't show. Just,
Also, are we disadvantaging ourselves from trying to separate ourselves from the gun manufacturers, the gun market? Like they have a tremendous amount of influence and money behind them in terms of marketing and advocacy and
political power.
Political power. So do we piggyback on them as a shooting sport as well, right?
Yeah, call it the NRA tomorrow. See if they'll take on paintball for us.
Well, we could have talked to Charlton Heston, but he's gone back to
his hands are cold and dead.
His hands are cold. Yes. So there you go.
But I'll bet donuts to dollars he's still got that shotgun in there.
Speaking of things that aren't cold and dead, Matt, why don't you tell us a little bit about Planet Eclipse?
Oh, that was an okay segue.
It was okay.
The okayest.
Planet Eclipse, which is the creators of incredible tournament paintball markers, soft goods, and gear, the winningest markers in paintball. Now innovators in mechanical actions, including the new M70-170R and MG100 mag-fed Marvel.
EG is the world's leading manufacturer of smoke grenades, thunder flash, airsoft, and paintball grenades for use in theater, film, photography, and of course paintball. Pull a tab at your next event. Hashtag Pop Smoke. They also make awesome textiles, as they call them.
Textile approved. Arabs are proudly made in the USA. Their thick welded seam, stainless steel hardware, multiple color options, and layouts are available. 2020 is here, so get your 2020 fields now. Ask for full color printing and custom logo options. Customize your next field with Arabs.
Ruthless Paintball Products caters to both professional players, weekend warriors, and podcast foodies, including the hoodie I'm currently wearing, and Gavin. They have set a new level of paintball playing apparel. You can head over to their website now and use our promo code of BTB15 to get 15% off all their products.
And more than just swabs and pads, Exalt is a way of life. Available at discerning retailers, fields, shops, and shows. Tournament ready, battle proven, Exalt.
In the beginning, you fall out of a tree, you stumble down a rocky cliff, you wade chest deep through a mosquito-infested bog. Then you realize you're surrounded. It's party time. You own a Tipman. Now combine Empire, JT Tipman, V-Force. You get the world's largest distributor of everything paintball. GI Sports, now manufacturers of the Stormer. DLS Technologies, the manufacturer of the Lux paintball marker.
I'm sorry.
As well as other great product lines as the SP Shocker, GOG Enemy, and the Freak Barrels. A long-time manufacturer of paintball gear. They have a product you can trust and a product that is outstanding.
You know what I'll do? For 50 years, Altama has proudly carried militaries from across the globe through every challenging environment, including malls, jungles, deserts, urban battle zones. Make Altama your next paintball, airsoft, or everyday shoe. Or look for Altama, Original SWAT, and First Tactical at a leading retailer near you.
Now, not all the ninjas wear black or Altama boots. With advanced colorways and coatings, adjustable regulators, remote lines, fill station, hydro testing, and so much more, Ninja products have what it takes to keep you out in the front and always in the game. And do not forget, they are made in America.
So what were we talking about before?
We were talking about pet peeves from big games, and we should probably do our own.
Do you have one?
I do. My biggest pet peeve for games, and this is probably going to be controversial, so I'm going to say it.
Don't do it now.
I want to.
We're going to lose viewers.
I think the worst part about big games are medics.
Well,
Really?
Because
tell me more.
the essence of paintball in and itself is to use a paintball marker to shoot somebody and hit them. And then that person is then out.
Please explain the game to me.
If you have a big game where you have a medic, it
Slow down,
increases frustration exponentially when you look and you're like, I hit that guy. I hit Matt on the elbow. He chicken wings all the time. It's dangling out the side all the time. I hit him on the elbow. And then all of a sudden, bam, out comes that elbow and it's got wiped paint on it. And it's like, oh, what the heck? Like, I hit him in the elbow. I can see it from here. He wiped it. And then you find out he's got a medic there. In one of the best large big game scenario events that I've played at, there was no medics. All it was a simple, you're hit, you're out, you walk back to a tag-up station or a field hospital, and you walk back in, and you're back in the foray. I think it helped a lot, one, with the frustration, because people got hit, and it was like, okay, I'm going to go walk 45 seconds that way, I'm going to tag back in, I'm going to be back in the game. Sometimes you lost the building that you were in. No big deal. I'll start at the next one, work my way back up there. The game flowed so well that day, and not a single person complained about the other team not calling hits and doing this and doing that. And I think it really just changed the way the big game was thought about, and it flowed really well, and nobody complained about it.
What about having limited medics, maybe one or two per team?
That gets complicated.
No, well,
Because all it takes is one medic to not be on the field.
correct. So that happens all the time, and then you have one team without
Yes.
medics at all. So I do like mobile respawn areas or respawn too.
Or you've got some local team that's running around as a crew. They've
Locals.
got one medic, some yokel team who runs around with one medic, and all of a sudden they're sweeping everybody off the field. And it's like, okay, they got some guy who knows exactly what they're doing, and they got a medic on their team. And quite often, more than not, I mean, Gavin can attest to this, I'm sure we all can, 50% of those medic cards go to who? Little Timmy got dropped off by his mom and sitting there going, I'm a medic. And then he runs around for part of the day, and then he sits in the staging area, drinks Gatorade, eats hot dogs and bonbons.
So, reffing big games, I do know that's a huge frustration for players when they don't recognize there's a medic in a building, and you've seen the break, and all of a sudden,
Yep.
Buddy comes back clean, and you can hear the tempers flaring, people getting really, really upset. And so, as a ref, you can't say, hey, there's a medic there. So, I checked. Yes, you hit him. It broke. He's still playing. Why do you think he's still playing? I don't know. This game sucks.
Red Dawn, we used medics again because it was cold and it was hard. I've adopted and I believe it's reasonably successful, the bandage. Every player in their player pack gets a cotton piece of bandage. I wish I could afford white team tags, but I can't. So we have to get a piece of...
Show needs a sponsorship.
We need a sponsor.
Everyone got a piece of white cotton tourniquet, and that would give them one hit. So if you're playing and you get shot, you can get one of your teammates to put your medic armband on, and you can carry on. Your next shot, you have to go back to the respawn or the MASH unit and carry on. If you get a hit in the head, regardless of where you're out of that, and you have to go back to the MASH unit because that's the only place you can get your life back is to go to the mobile surgical hospital, or you can leave the field and check back in again.
So what happens to the tourniquet if you come out of a MASH?
Then you take it off.
Take it off
and put
and
it back in
use
your
it.
pocket.
Okay,
Yeah.
you could reuse it.
And
Radar
then
is there for you, unties it and stuffs it back in your pocket.
You can
Matt, it's
reuse
not actually stopping the bleeding. Like, you could take it off again.
But It boggles my mind. How does this work?
It's
a miracle of science.
I'm with Matt. I think it's the worst idea ever.
Why?
Because despite what Joe told me, he handed it to me and he said, "Do not lose this." 2 minutes later, no idea where it went.
People,
And no, you can't get angry at Joe because you can't tie a damn knot.
if we
Are you
had
sure?
if we had Velcro from Team Tags, then it would be fine. But
Look at you pushing for a sponsorship.
it doesn't need to be 2-inch thick stuff. It could be 3/4 inch or a half-inch, as long as people can put this
I
tourniquet
get
on.
this image of some kid as a medic running around with like a mitt full of these things, and then just being found in the field later on, like tied up in like an awkward circle, like "Help, please, please."
Like a web.
All right, so Joe, for big games for you, what is a big turnoff for you? Let's say as a player and
I think
two-part question.
doing-
One, as a player. Two, as a game producer.
I guess it's hard. I haven't played a big game for a while. I guess I have. It's just not knowing exactly where your missions and objectives are. But then, if you're writing a big game, or even if you're playing in a big game, there's a percentage of the players that just want to engage each other. They just want to shoot paint. They just want to be with their friends and shoot paint. There's another percentage of players that will help run a mission and conduct a mission, but then they still want to shoot paint. Then there's this very small component of players that actually want to complete the mission. So it's very. Then that goes back to, it's very hard to design and write a game because you have to take that into consideration. And when you're writing a scenario game, you want to encourage firefights, and it's like physics. Every action has a reaction, so you want to encourage firefights. Maybe one team each mission goes this way, or part of a squad goes this way, where their mission is a give me, or it's a wild goose chase, or the POW went they rescue was liberated hours before, or what have you. But there's always, you want to encourage a firefight, but it's really tough. And years ago when we would do up the teams and divide the teams, you'd be sitting there going, well, these guys can go to this guy because they're aggressive, but it doesn't happen. You really have to pretty much divide the team up, and then throughout the day you may have to make some subtle adjustments so the teams are even. It's tough because you want everyone to have a good time. So you don't want to constantly call airstrikes and move players back, because there's always choke points in every field, because the entry points and the way the fields are designed, it's a tough go.
So Ralph Hauser in the chat says, loading one side with newbies. But with registration people showing up, sometimes you don't know who newbies are, right? They have gear. You don't know if they're going to play or not, right?
And you've got all these guys that, you've got guys that are seemingly high experienced, but yet they're long ballers. You don't know. You can't take everyone's resume and go, oh, well, he can go up, he can be on front, and these guys are mid players, and these guys are back players, and these guys will run missions. You just really have to hope that the weather's great and the paint you've ordered is fantastic and everybody has a good time, and you can get 4,500 fills and 3,000 fills, and you don't run out of paper towels.
I think that'd be a great topic for another episode, is what would you put on your paintball resume?
Yeah. Yes, that's a good idea. What would you?
Well, you're the producer, sure. Well, whatever.
You're talking.
Whatever, it's our show.
You know what? That's a good idea. We could write that down. What would you put on your resume? That would be an interesting topic.
Yeah, I'm just thinking out loud over here.
Yeah, no, that's really good. I'm going to write that down.
So for
I have a whole glass full of hotel pens.
Hyatt hotel pens,
yeah.
not just
Hyatt.
hotel pens. Hyatt hotel pens.
The ones that they had at the Crown Plaza in Memphis didn't have any ink in them.
No, they did that.
So
hey, the one in our room was green.
I know.
How weird is that?
They were
green
ink.
They were full.
Yes.
They were full of lead.
That was actually mold.
They were full of lead.
What would you put? What would you? I don't have to talk out loud. You guys.
Yeah, actually writing that down.
Okay, so
that's cool.
For me, I'm going to say it's the same answer as a player of big games and as a referee of big games as well. My number one complaint, what really turns me off, jackasses. 100% jackasses. I know a number of people listed that. The people who are screaming down refs, screaming down players, overshooting, just cheating. That really ruins a whole event for me when you have a bunch of jackasses. And sometimes they're organized teams who show up just to be jackasses. And I can't stand that. So as a ref, part of the jackassedness,
Jackassery.
it's jackassery, is when you have players screaming, "Check him! I hit him!" And they're expecting me to run across the whole field to check a leg that they thought they may have hit. You know what? Referees are on the field. They can potentially do paint checks, but they're not your personal referee. They're not going to run around, follow you around, and check the other person that you're firing down range at. They're there for safety. They're there to monitor the game and the flow and direct people, but they're certainly not there to catch every cheater. You know what? If you're going to be a cheater, if you're going to be that jackass, stay home. The field does not want your business at all. Stay home.
No,
Yes.
not only the field doesn't want your business, paintball in general doesn't want your business.
Doesn't need it.
Nobody cares if your team shows up and wins MVP award, okay? You want to, I want to see an MVP team be the one that brings 5 new players out to paintball and then plays the entire day with them. That's an MVP team to me.
In the end of the day, the individual player's not going home with a trophy. They're not going home with a ribbon. They're not going home with a handshake. It's bragging rights. You know what? So everybody's there for a good time. If you're not going to be there for a good time, if you're going to be there to be a jackass, stay freaking home and do something else.
Donkey.
Donkey. Yeah. You know what? Nobody wants to be around them.
That
Nobody
would be a
wants
good team named Donkeys.
potentially. So that's my rant, both as a player and as a referee. In both incidents, I'm there to have a good time as well. I want to make sure the players are having a good time. I'm all about sportsmanship. So if you want to be a jackass, you want to scream, you want to think you're a tournament player on a recreational field, stay home. There's no business or place for you on the field.
Yeah,
Very
if you're
true.
just out there ruining little Timmy's day, who's the first time ever playing paintball, you know what? You just go home. Just
And there's
really,
there's
go
no,
home.
you know what?
Just-
I'm usually the first in a dead box too. There's no shame in being hit. Damn. All right, great shot.
Good
Move
shot,
on.
carry
And
on.
you know what? Wiping, whining, cheating. There's no business. That's not paintball. Stay freaking home. Play video games. Do something else. Don't show up at the field.
That's true.
Yep, agreed.
All
Matt,
right.
what about you? What's your biggest pet peeve about big games?
Porta potties. I don't like them.
Fair enough.
All right, we should
Well said.
actually. Yes.
What about you, Matt? Other Matt.
Me? I would have to say first strike rounds. I can't stand them. You got some, usually, they have their purpose. They're meant for long-range shots, fine. But you've got some jackass loading them in
Donkey.
their pistol
Donkey.
Some donkey.
and shooting you from 5 feet.
True.
But that goes back to the jackassedness, right? So
Right.
you know that you know what the round or the projectile is
Yeah.
capable of. So be respectful on the field, both in behavior and in word.
And that goes back to more paintball etiquette. That goes back to chronographing your marker at the field limit. That goes back to your rate of fire. Do you need to really shoot 15 balls a second in a big game? Really, when guys are using mechanical guns, can you not live with 10 shots a second or 8? You know, a guy with a Tippmann A5 or a 98 or a Cronus or the Stormer, he can pull 8 or 10 shots a second. I think that's a reasonable speed. You don't need to be out there ramping, shooting somebody up that's playing a big game. Again, big games are fun. I get there's a certain level of competitiveness and people want to win, but there is a certain amount of etiquette as well in playing paintball, and I think some of that is lost. But you know what? On the weekend at Red Dawn, even though it was cold and it was winter and it was snow, people were smiling.
Exactly.
I think there was a fair amount of paintball etiquette. There was not a lot of donkeys out at Red Dawn. As much as they needed to use mules to move the supplies around through the mountains of Colorado, and the Russians parachuted them in, and the Cubans brought the donkeys up, for the battle. But anyway, I was pretty happy. There was a reasonable amount of paintball etiquette.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
Gavin.
people were excited about being out, particularly in our neck of the woods, because they've been playing indoor for a while, right? So they want to get out, they want to be outside playing. So the temperature was low as well, right? So we all know, we've all experienced this, when the temperature goes up, so do temperatures and stuff like that as well, right? So people were excited about being out. So I hope people hold on to that feeling of why you got into the sport, why you play it, that sportsmanship, the camaraderie, whether that is with your opponent or with your teammate. and embrace after the entire 2020 season, regardless of how hot it gets. Check yourself before you wreck yourself.
Oh, that's good. Donkey.
You know what? On that note, we are running late. So
No, how could we be?
It's time,
Because
Joe.
Master Todd's not here.
So
Is there really wait
but-
59?
So I would encourage you, if you have any Jackass friends, tell them to stay home and just continue to enjoy the sport and make it fun and enjoyable for everybody else.
Jimmy
Is
Church.
that a good wrap up then, Matt?
It's a good
Yeah,
wrap
say
up.
your goodbyes. And
Jimmy Churchill said getting bunkered with first strike rounds is not very fun, even though they have high frangibility.
George Hay has one of my favorite ones, and I know George Hay does a lot of teching and a lot of stuff at big games. He says, don't bring your marker to a tech to clean it. Have some pride in your gear and clean it yourself. Well said.
And
And
respect
with that,
Monday nights. It's
thank
garbage
you
night.
to everyone who liked and shared the show. As usual, the rest of you, you're dead to us. Hopefully, we'll still see you next week, though.
No, there's no show next week. I don't.
Oh, that's right.
yes, definitely no show next
Yeah. Next
week.
week, we're doing a little bit of the rewind. Yeah. So,
Rewind.
Joe.
Oh, guys, thanks for tuning in. Girls, thanks for tuning in tonight. Thanks for listening to our Red Dawn podcast. Gavin's here. Josh is here. Visit us next at Paint Fest at Flaggers Out There. We're going to try to grow the sport. Bring a friend. New player, free entry, free rentals. Come on out. And we have March break specials. All March break at Flaggers Indoor. Get out and play paintball. Hashtag help make paintball cool again. Pew pew.
And again, to just echo what everybody was saying, thank you for joining us. Even though Todd was not here, he got a case of the Floridas. We seem to pull off a show, so there's a lot going on this evening. Thank you for your contributions in the chat and for what you've sent in. Make sure you hit like and share. Download the podcast because some podcast extra coming up. Thanks for joining us.
Don't be a freeloader. If you liked what you hear, make sure to hit the share button below. Also follow us on our social media outlets like Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, ICQ, and now MySpace. If you want to join the conversation, post your comments and we might read them on the show.
Okay, so we're back on.
Welcome back. This is the podcast extra. So we got into a little bit of a, well, at least I say we, but I sort of poked the bear a bit about
The donkey.
about jackasses showing up in the field. So, how do you deal with them?
It's tough. There's
Usually there's one or two guys on each team. Like typically, I find when it's a jackass, it's not a single standalone person. It's usually one person that's with a group of donkeys. There's typically one person in that group that you can walk up to and just say like, "Hey, can you like
take it down a notch."
Can you take it down a notch? Can you steer them in a different direction? Can you maybe can you guys maybe go just cool off in the parking lot for 10 minutes or something, or you know, just go away and let everybody else in the field get back on for half an hour or something. Just
Are you finding people
chill,
receptive to that? Because I'm finding there's a Xbox Online mentality a lot.
Oh, there is.
With respect to big games and paintball in general. Some fields cater to that. They allow that to happen. And so when people travel around, what they don't recognize is as much as you trash talk and you try to do crap on the field, you can get punched in the face.
Oh, yeah.
And so I think that is what's lacking a lot. The good old-fashioned punch in the face for bad behavior.
Do you think?
I don't think. I'm just saying that.
I don't know. That's a
Obviously, I don't endorse punches in the face.
punches in the face. I think
Groin punches I fully support.
Or hopper kicks. I think you really need to go back to a code of conduct, some paintball etiquette. I think in the rules rules could probably do with a little bit of hey, don't do this, not like hey, don't do this, don't do that. A few bullet points of things to do, and it should probably be posted just for a reminder. But if all fields and everybody adopted 5 or 10 bullet points, it's like a ski hill. A ski hill has the I don't know what it's called. I forgot the skier's code of conduct or whatever. But he could come up with something, and all fields could endorse. Keep your goggles on, use a barrel plug, don't overshoot, no ramping. But if there was some some consistency in the industry, I think is what you need.
But I also think individual players need to be accountable. So if you're playing, and whether it is by your organized team that arrived or some by fluke happen to be wearing the same armband as you, and you see jackass behavior, call them on it, regardless if they're your teammate or not. Stop your game and call them on it, and check that behavior.
That's true.
No, yes,
yeah, no.
I totally agree.
I think it takes a community to not only grow the sport, which people hate hearing, but to regulate and set a culture that's going to be inclusive for everybody to participate in.
I kind of think that if your local field would do, rules like Joe said, and then incorporate some type of code of conduct or something, like talk about a little bit of not necessarily like lecture people and say this is a respect for the game type thing, but I think if you're little David's mom who's out there for his birthday party and you hear the ref go over the things like don't take your goggles off, don't do this, don't do that, and say, okay, we're here for fun. This is how you have the most fun playing paintball, right? Make rounds fast and quick. Don't wipe. Don't drag play on. Get it done and over with. That way you can play more in the day. You can do more, right? If you get into this mentality of helping people have more fun, I think maybe, David's mom's going to tell Johnny's mom. Johnny's mom's going to tell Elizabeth's mom, and then so on and so forth. And, next thing you know, you've got this larger community of paintball players actually having more fun.
Okay, here I found it's called the Alpine Responsibility Code. It's got a little graphic of some people skiing and snowboarding. There are elements of risk that are common sense and personal awareness that can help reduce. Regardless of how you decide to use the slopes, which we can even change, always show courtesy to others. Please adhere to the code listed below and share with others the responsibility for a safe experience. Number 1, always stay in control. You must be able to stop or avoid other people or objects. 2, people ahead of you have the right of way. It's your responsibility to avoid them. 3, do not stop where you obstruct a trail or not visible from above. 4, before starting downhill or merging onto a hill, look up the hill and yield to others. Whatever. But okay, so there's jackass, donkey. So there's 10 of these codes. And at the end it says, know the code and be safety conscious is your responsibility. So could we not come up with a paintball responsibility code?
I don't see why not.
Hopefully in fewer bullet points.
Yeah.
Why gotta be like that?
And less about trailers.
And we can't put them on social media if we call them bullet points.
True.
Oh, so we'd have to call them
Nerf points.
Circle points.
We'd have to call them round points. So that just
we could have the 5 safety pins of
you
paintball.
come up with 10 or 8 bullet points for the paintball responsibility code, and that would be a code that all paintball fields could adhere to. That would be a start in unifying the industry and getting everybody on board.
Yeah.
I would agree. Absolutely.
I gotta send myself an email.
Good for you.
And the other one is always patronize Joe.
That's the last Nerf point.
We're on top of that.
Todd can make the graphic, which you won't like, but whatever, we'll get one done.
You could just have that laminated and posted on a building as well in the staging
staging area, right by the chronograph range. You could have it where people are checking in a couple places, right beside your...
At the urinal, because you don't want to make eye contact with the guy next to you, so you get something else to read.
Looking at the Alpine Responsibility Code as opposed to his squeegee.
I could just see it now. Matt's code of conduct for outhouse usage.
No, looking at his squeegee. Keep your wiener and
keep your eye on the prize, boys.
Trousers.
It's okay. It's a 50 cal squeegee.
It stays.
I was going more 43. What? Yeah, you're being a little generous.
I'm going to do this.
Good for you, Joseph.
Thanks, Gavin.
But I think 2020 is the year that we hold other people accountable for their bad behavior and not just sort of suck it up and say, oh, those guys are jerks. Stop what you're doing and say, hey, slow down on firing on that little Timmy, right? Let's not, hey, I saw you wipe that. You're out. Leave, right? Call people out on their misbehavior, and hopefully that can regulate or help them learn that this is not a part of the game. This is outside of the game, and you're ruining it for everybody.
Yeah, and if it's one of your teammates, I've said this before. I've been sitting there playing in a bunker, and you turn around and you say, Kaz, you hit on the shoulder, dude. Just listen. I got this shit on lockdown. Go to the staging area, have a drink, hit on some moms, refill your air, get some more paint, bring me a bottle of water. I'll be right here when you get back. And sometimes he does come back, and other times he's just lost in the urinal. So.
But I also want to say that teams should hold other teammates accountable.
Yeah.
If you're an organized team and you're traveling together, it's guilt by association. Do you want a representation to the entire paintball community as a bunch of jerks? Or do you want to say, hey, these guys are stand-up people, great players, sportsmanship, who are always promoting and supporting everybody in the sport and not giving it a black eye?
Yeah,
that's true.
And don't forget, too, if you're playing on some type of an established team, often you are playing under somebody's banner, whether it's EG, whether it's Flag Raiders, whether it's a field, whether it's a company, whether it's Eclipse. Like, you're representing that company. You've got their logos plastered all over your jerseys, and if you're the guys in the corner wiping all that stuff, you make your sponsors look like enemies.
Absolutely.
That's a valid point.
Now, you could do what all our sponsors do and sponsor us, because all we do is hang out in the staging area.
But we look good.
And eat food.
We do. And eat food. And talk about
what are
Gus's
we
fried
eating?
chicken.
So
Gus's.
okay. You talked about Gus's again.
Uh-huh.
I'm quite upset that I didn't bring a damn cup home.
I bet.
As am I.
I bet if you mail them like a self-addressed envelope with whatever, they'll send you a cup.
I don't
Yes,
think
but
so.
Matt, they also want to send us some fried chicken. And the whole point of going to Gus's fried chicken is to
Gus's
acquire,
fried
and
chicken.
consume fried chicken.
You know what? I will hire a private jet to get you guys down to Memphis again.
And security?
No, I can't afford security.
What do you got,
But
podcast
the
money?
private
Come
jet,
on.
yeah.
So I do. I
Private jet. Are you just saying that because Todd's out learning how to fly?
I want to give a shout out to Gus's Fried Chicken. So
Yes.
we did go back twice, and the second night they were far more receptive to us arriving and dining than the first night. So we arrived about 15 minutes before closing, and we asked, "What happens when you close in 15 minutes prior to placing your order?" She said, "Well, you can't kick us out," and that was the green light for us to settle in.
No, it wasn't that. She said. I think she said we can't legally kick you out.
Well, yeah,
Did she not?
She said something along the lines of the kitchen closes at whatever in 15
Yeah,
minutes.
but we can't.
But I never heard
But
in my
they were-
entire
They
life.
were pretty gracious.
They were,
Come
but I never
on.
heard in my entire life anybody sweeping so angrily.
Yeah, there
I
was
can-
some angry sweeping
yeah.
going on.
But I mean, they welcomed us back the next night, and we were there well before closing, and we ate. So, Gus's Fried Chicken, I love you. Thank you for accommodating a bunch of Canadians there. Your food is fantastic, and I'm looking forward to maybe a franchise here, hopefully.
I don't know if you could do that. Maybe you could.
Well, the big thing now is all the Chick-fil-A's popping up in Canada.
There's how many? There's only two.
It's happening.
I
It begins.
have been to the one in Toronto. And
Toronto.
it is good. It's not the same as the one in the States, but I think it's one of those things where after the restaurant's been there for like a little
Yeah.
while, it might
We
turn
might
out
have
to
two,
be
Gavin.
just,
I'll look
just
and
like
see.
I'm just looking at the cups right now that I took a picture of and not brought home with me. If you haven't eaten at Gus's, you haven't eaten fried chicken. And I would frickin' agree.
And
That
I
was
just want to
delicious.
post that up. If we left from here right now to get to Gus's Fried Chicken, by the time we arrive, it would actually be closed because that drives 14 hours and 13 minutes.
Well, what
Oh,
about a
so-
breakfast chicken?
I don't know if they're open for breakfast. Hang on.
I don't think they are. There'd be some badass frying.
Be some very angry sweeping if we showed up and they were still open.
And one thing, because it wasn't great for us to walk around Memphis, we didn't have the chicken skin sandwiches.
Oh, that's true.
Are those
We were looking
actually
for that.
real, or is that just like an urban legend?
I don't know. Somebody posted that it was there.
Sounds kind of neat. So what show did we just do? We just did show
451.
451, and then
314
podcast
or something.
314. That's pretty crazy.
315, wasn't it?
Yeah, 350. Matt's the mathematician.
Yeah, he's the numbers guy.
He's the numbers
Now,
guy.
Gus's Fried Chicken is world famous.
It is world famous. They have.
Well, I can say world famous. I'm world famous Gavin.
Franchise.
They
I'll
have.
put it on a cup.
They have chicory.
Oh.
They-
Please note, due to the incredible response to our franchise opportunity, we're not currently accepting application for franchises.
Well, Gus can only teach so many people a year.
Gus.
Oh.
We did ask him if he was there.
Oh, there's one in Detroit, Michigan.
Would it be the same?
Who cares?
I don't know.
Ask George. Hey.
Hey.
The
Is there one-
podcast
is there one-
audience as a whole must be just loving every second of this.
Whatever. We're talking about paintball. Where's it?
We did
Matt,
talk-
where's
we
that
did talk
Tippmann
about paintball.
Stormer? Matt has the Tippmann Stormer Elite, which is the dual mag fed. No one can see it because this is really the podcast extra, but I'm holding
It's a
it.
scripted video.
It's pretty descriptive. It's black polymer. It's got
He holds the
real-
gun tactically.
really fantastic flip up sights. So it's they did a good job with the sights. The shroud is a single button release, and the front shroud comes off. You can disassemble it in near minutes and put it down so it all fits nicely into a paint box. And that's how I brought it in here because I'm thinking, how can I transport this thing? Because I don't have a gun. Whoops, I don't have a gun bag, but it'll all go in my paint box and break down. It would even fit in something.
You know what?
much
We
smaller.
heard gun bag and paint box and no dings.
Oh yeah,
Really?
You guys are off the game.
Dude, I am looking up where Gus's Fried Chicken is in Detroit, and it's 2 minutes over the border.
Is it really?
Oh.
But how good would it be compared to
It's
the
3 hours away.
you guys?
That's so good.
Maybe we could go there.
A road trip.
A road trip to Gus's Fried Chicken.
I am
George Hay would
so
meet us
hungry
there.
right now.
Anything to declare? That's tasty fried
Some
chicken.
chicken, some fried chicken.
Are you bringing any food home with you?
No.
Just empty cups. Is there one in Buffalo by any chance?
No.
I did not see one in Buffalo.
Ooh.
Is there
Let me
anything in
look.
New York State?
I don't think I saw any in New York. No.
All right. What time is it, Matt? It's garbage night.
Yeah, well, we've been at this for a good 10, 15 minutes.
Okay.
Texas, California.
That's all you get tonight,
Georgia,
folks.
Yeah, we're gonna cinch up our stuff and
Chicago.
do more stuff,
Texas.
and we're gonna
whole lot
carry
of
on
stuff.
a whole lot of stuff.
What state is MI?
Missouri.
Missouri.
Or
Oh.
Michigan.
No, Michigan.
Yeah.
MO is Missouri.
Yes, sorry. Yeah.
What's
Missoula.
What's MD?
Maryland.
Maryland.
Maryland. There does not appear to be any in.
What about
New
PA?
York.
That's Pennsylvania.
Nope.
Okay. Well, then we'll have to go to Michigan, to Detroit.
Yeah, go see George.
There's actually
George Hay.
two in
Okay.
Michigan. There's one in Westland.
I don't know where that is.
Westland.
I know where Detroit is.
Anyways, have a good
All
night,
right.
everyone.
All right, thanks so much,
See ya.
folks.
Peace out.
Bye.